Good morning. Hayom Yom, Menachem Av. So us Chabad Chassidim go through the entire Tanya every single year. And it's divided in such a way that in a leap year, on Yud Menachem Av, we begin the second letter in the part of Tanya known as Igeres HaKodesh, the letter that begins with the words Kitonti. And in the year that Hayom Yom was published in 1943, it was a leap year, and so today, the daily Tanya was Kitonti. So the Rebbe chooses to talk a little bit about the letter Kitonti. And he quotes the Rebbe Maharash, who said two interesting things about the ending of the letter of Kitonti. And the Alter Rebbe wrote this letter after being released from prison, and he was thrown in prison because his opponents, the Misnagdim, they said all kinds of lies and all kinds of libels to the Russian government against the Alter Rebbe, trying to get the Alter Rebbe executed and killed, because they did not like the Hasidic movement, they did not like Hasidus. And on Yutes Kislev, the Alter Rebbe was released, and it was an amazing, amazing event. And the Misnagdim were devastated and heartbroken, and a lot of Chassidim now felt like $1 million, and they were walking around the streets, and they felt like on top of the world, and they were mocking the Misnagdim and laughing at the Misnagdim and really rubbing it in the Misnagdim's faces. And the Alter Rebbe wrote a letter Kitonti, and he said that heaven has smiled upon us, heaven has given us victory, we've won, it's amazing. But he said in any struggle, in any strife, when heaven grants you victory, when heaven smiles upon you, when heaven blesses you, that should not make you more arrogant. You should actually be humbled and become a humbler person. And he wrote the words that we need to embody Mides Emes Yaakov. We all need to truly embody the spirit of Yaakov, the spirit of our forefather Jacob, our forefather Yaakov. Now, every name in the Hebrew language carries with it a certain personality, a certain style, a certain energy. And the name Yaakov means many, many things, but literally the name is Yud Akev, which means the humble heel, or the small heel, or the humble heel. And basically what that means, someone who has the name Yaakov, or the name Yaakov, and ideally someone with the name Yaakov is meant to embody that personality and that style and that energy, is someone who's like a humble soldier, a simple foot soldier. Basically, they're driven by a drive of Mesiras Nefesh, which means they're ready to do whatever needs to be done. Whatever the call of the hour is, whatever the mission of the day is, whatever the duty that needs to be done, they're ready to do it, even if it's not so glorious, even if it's pretty sucky work. They don't feel like any mission or anything is beneath them or below their dignity, and they're too important for that. They're a humble, simple soldier, a foot soldier who's ready to do anything that needs to be done. They're driven by a drive of Mesiras Nefesh. And the reason why they're so willing, the reason why they're driven by such Mesiras Nefesh is because they feel like they're a simple heel. They feel they're very humble people. They feel like the heel in the collective Jewish body. And they don't feel like they're the important head or whatever, and therefore they should only be assigned important, prestigious work. They're ready to do anything that needs to be done. They feel like a humble, simple heel. And he said, we need to embody, all Chassidim need to embody the energy of the Yud, all Chassidim need to embody the energy of Yaakov, truly embody that energy, which is to feel like humble people and not feel better or superior to anybody else, not feel better and superior to the Misnagdim, and not feel better than anybody else or the Misnagdim, and therefore it's not right to rub stuff in their face and cause them discomfort, basically. And then he wrote that when people are angry at you and people are upset at you, so if you respond in kind and you respond aggressively, so that will just create this vicious cycle and that will go on forever. As opposed to if you act calm and collected and cool, that will eventually make their anger dissipate and go away. And that is originally, says the Rebbe Rash, how the letter ended. Now, later, when the Alter Rebbe came back to Liozna, so he said a certain mimer 3 times. And the mimer was on the pasuk, on the famous pasuk, Kamayim hapanim lepanim, kain lev ha'adam la'adam, which literally means the same dynamic that exists between the human face and water exists between 2 human hearts. And there's 2 ways to interpret this pasuk: the Targum's interpretation and Rashi's interpretation. And Targum explains it that just like a human face has nothing in common with water, the human face is 3D and very curvaceous, and water is flat and smooth. And therefore the human face has nothing in common with water, and has nothing in common with the reflection in the water. This is 3D, that is 2D. So he said the same way that the face and the reflection had nothing in common, they're totally different from each other, even though on the surface they look like faces, but they're totally different faces. So he said, so too, two human hearts are not in common at all. He says every two human hearts, every two humans thinks entirely differently, feels entirely differently, perceives the world in an entirely different way. And us humans often make the mistake where we think and we feel that everybody else around us perceives reality in the exact same way that we do. And we often don't realize that people are seeing the same situation as us totally different. And everyone's looking at everything from a totally different way. And he said no two human minds are the same, no two human hearts are the same. All of us perceive and interpret reality in a totally different way. And that's how Targum explains the pasuk. But Rashi explains it in a totally different way, actually the complete opposite. Rashi says that the meaning is, just like whatever face you put in front of water, the water will reflect an identical face. A reflection just shows what's in front of it. If you put a beautiful face in front of the water, you're going to see a beautiful face in the water. If you put a very ugly face in front of the water, you're going to see a hideous face in the water. If you smile at the water will smile back at you. If you frown at the water will frown back at you. So he said in the exact same way is the relationship between two human beings, between two human hearts, the chemistry between two human hearts, that we automatically and naturally reflect the kind of emotional energy that other people are giving off. So if you have goodwill towards someone and you love someone and you admire someone and you have good, positive, kind intentions towards someone, they will not be able to help with time to just automatically feel positively towards you. And conversely, if you have animosity towards someone, or you resent someone, or you dislike someone, the person will automatically pick up on that, consciously or subconsciously, and they will begin to resent you and not like your presence and not like you. And this is the way Rashi interprets it. And after the Alter Rebbe 3 times said a mimer on this pasuk, interpreting it according to Rashi, he was going with the Rashi approach. So now this pasuk actually became very relevant to his letter. So he then added to his letter an extra addition, and he quoted this pasuk, and he said, so if we act towards the Misnagdim, and we feel towards them goodwill and positive will, and we love them, despite them fighting with us and being our enemies, then not only will the Misnagdim stop hating us, but eventually they will actually come to love us in kind, and we'll become one beautiful, happy family. And just what's amazing is that this hope and this prediction of the Alter Rebbe, in a sense, only really, really became true, and is becoming true in very recent years, to the full extent. But in any event, so that's what the Alter Rebbe, that's what he concluded the Rebbe, that's what he concluded the letter, that's what the Rebbe Marash said. And he says that by adding this last line, so the Alter Rebbe implanted in Chassidim midas tevis, good midas. He gave us a certain EQ and a certain emotional intelligence and emotional depth to Chassidim in the way we interact with other human beings and the way we relate to other people. We're just much better, kinder, better people because of this this message, basically, and realizing this message and embodying this message. That people will respond to the way whatever feelings we project towards other people, that's how people will respond. And that realization is very, very transformative. Is a very transformative idea in the way you deal with other people, especially on an emotional, personal level. Okay, the second thing the Rebbe Marash said is that, so the Alter Rebbe used the words midas emes the Yaakov. We truly need to embody the spirit of Yaakov. We truly need to be humble. We truly need to feel that we are no better than anybody else. We are no better than the Misnagdim. He said it's not enough to just act like Yaakov. It's not enough to pretend to be Yaakov. It's not enough to pretend in the way we act and the way we speak not to feel better than anyone else. Emes the Yaakov, we truly need to embody the spirit of Yaakov. We actually have to feel that we're not better than anyone else. And the Rebbe Marash said that by adding in that word emes, by demanding of his Chassidim that they truly, truly, truly embody this level of humility, and they truly embody it, so by doing that, he scared away many potential Chassidim, and he actually lost 50,000 potential Chassidim. He said he would have had 50,000 more Chassidim join the movement after this great victory if he didn't throw in the word emes, the word truth. But the bottom line is basically, Chassidus and Chabad Chassidus and the Chabad Rebbeim, they're not about slogans and they're not about pretending to be a certain thing, or yeah, it's about really all our values and everything we say and everything we preach. It needs to be real. We really believe in what we say, and we demand of our Chassidim, we demand of the people of the Chassidim movement to embody all of our ideas and ideals, and not to give lip service and not to put on a show. It's about really incorporating these things and embodying these things, and truly being a Yaakov, truly being a humble person. Have a wonderful day.